So I think what happened is that everyone in my gym was asking me, what are you training for? And I wasn't training for anything. Well, maybe I should be training for something. And I kind of went on the hunt. So, okay, what is there that you can do that relates to lifting things? And I can't remember what order it happened. And I think I recall I started looking into powerlifting first. And I think while I was doing that, I saw some flyers for the Mass State Strongman contest, and I really thought that sounded cool, and I wanted to try it. But at the time, somewhere around there, I broke my toe, and it's like I could do powerlift still and be on my heel, and I could do bodybuilding stuff, but anything, strongman stuff so dynamic and all over the place, I couldn't push off my toes. But I think that's what happened. Like while I was exploring one, I started hearing about the other. I'm like, okay, this is nice, but that looks really cool. Yeah. I want to do that. So,
okay.
Oh, there's lots of people I look up to, but in terms of who has the biggest influence on me, it's probably my training partner, Seth.
Sure.
I just think because we put our heads together and, usually we'll plan our own routines and we always are bouncing ideas off each other. I think it really is helpful to have somebody that you respect and, that is going to tell you how it is if you're, not doing something right on a lift, and will give you feedback. And so I think just the biggest influence has just been having him there while I do stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It was awesome. In a word, it was really awesome. I went in there, it's not that I was expecting to do bad, but I wasn't expecting to do really well. I just was like, I was actually pretty relaxed about it. I was not that nervous. I was like, let's just see what happens. I felt prepared, and after a couple events, I was like, wow, I'm doing pretty well.
Sure.
And I was surprised. I knew my worst event that I knew was going to be my worst event was at the end of day one. So I didn't get too ahead of myself because I knew my better events were the first couple. And sure enough, I did 0 the car deadlift. So that was a little bit of a low point. But at the same time, I also knew it was coming. So I think being an experienced athlete, I didn't let that get in my head too much. Because I also knew the next day I felt good about those events. So yeah, I ended up placing 3rd out of 10 in my particular middleweight class, and then of all 26 middleweights put together, which includes the weight class above me, the 180s, I ended up placing 5th out of 26. So that was really exciting, because like I said, I didn't know what to expect going into it. So even with zeroing an event, I did really well.
What did you feel like your best event was at this contest, or was there more than one you felt like you just nailed it?
The one I felt like I nailed the most was probably the carry medley.
Okay.
So that was a keg for 60 feet. It was supposed to be 175. It ended up being 150. Into farmer's walk for 40 feet, which I'm not sure what it was. It was supposed to be 200, but it felt slightly lighter, or somewhat lighter. I don't know what it ended up being. And then duck walk 225 for 20 feet. I smoked it. I was so excited. I can't think of any part of that when I watched the video that I could have done any better. So,
sure.
And my time was really good compared to everyone else's too. It was a solid first on that one. So I was really excited about that. The thing I tied for first on the overhead press medley, but that one I'm not as excited about because I actually made a mistake. Okay. So I cleaned the keg, I got it to my chest, but then for some reason I just couldn't get it to stay, and I dropped it before I could press it. So I ended up only getting, by the time I got to the 3rd implement, I only got 4 reps on the 3rd implement. I know I had it more in me. Yeah. So even though I'm excited about having tied for first on that one, I know it wasn't my best possible performance.
Sure.
Dampened it a little bit. But those are the 2 I felt probably the best about because of my placings.
No.
There's a lot more women.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things. So in 2011, there was only one middleweight class. We were all together. Granted, the cutoffs were a little different. They've changed the weight classes, but still, there were only 4 in my weight class. So, I ended up placing. I got 3rd, but there were only 4 of us. I was proud of what I did that year, so I don't let that take anything away from me. But it is nice to have a bigger field, because it's a very different feeling to walk away having placed, in a field of 4 versus in a field of 10.
Sure.
Again, coming in 5th out of 26 felt pretty good too, So I think having more women is nice because also the scoring, it just ends up being very, somebody can beat somebody else by a boatload, and if there's only like 2 or 4 people, the numbers don't really reflect it.
Yeah.
But those differences make up a lot more points with a lot more women. And it's so nice too, just to have. I mean, I don't think the guys appreciate it because they've always had so many guys.
Sure.
But I think for the women who've been around I mean, I haven't even been around as long as some of the women doing this sport, but for those of us who have seen the change, it's really cool to have all these women on the sidelines supporting each other, and it's just awesome. So that's probably the biggest difference, I would say. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, this time I went with the whole crew. It was really a different experience, and it was really nice too.
Sure.
Especially to have people, like my husband came in 2011, but of course, you know, he's not in the sport, he doesn't compete in it. So this time I was actually rooming with folks who were also doing the contest, and you know, all of that was it just made for a very different experience. I think it helped me keep my head in the game a little bit more, because everybody I was there with was also kind of laser focused on it. And also I think we were able to help pick each other up. You know, we all had events that we were like, you know, that didn't go well. Or ones where we did really well, and to see other people who, you know, they're not just saying, hey, good job, but they were really psyched to see, you know, because they're rooting for you, they came with you, so that was really cool also. In particular, you know, I look back on some videos I have, and the woman who placed ahead of me, she got 3rd in my weight class, Brittany Diamond. She and I are friends, and so it's really cool to actually, you can hear us cheering for each other and see it on the videos, and it's kind of amazing to have, you know, somebody that you came with that's a competitor, but you still want to see them succeed so much, and I don't know, that's really awesome. Oh, differences. Gosh, there's a lot of differences. I guess one of them would be, obviously the weights are heavier. I feel like at most local shows, it's different. You know, sometimes they're actually really, really light. Sometimes they're at least a little bit comparable. But yeah, usually they're so much lighter. I think also it's shorter. I think if you're at Nationals, you've got to be ready for it to go really long, because sometimes it does. And I don't know, I don't think in some ways it's not that different, it's just different up here. I think people get really nervous about it. I was really lucky, I went into it for whatever reason, not as nervous as I was in 2011. But yeah, it's not really all that different. I think it mostly just because we get all psyched up about it, because the weights are heavier and it's on a higher level. But in reality, you know, it's just, people got to keep their focus. It's just another contest. Yeah. So now I'm trying to tell myself that with the article. It's not working. I mean, some of it's like 90s riot girl music. Some of it's like goofy schlock rock, because I think it's kind of funny. Some of it's like pop music. Some of it's, you know, I don't know. Just it's seriously all over the place. Some more rap stuff. It's a little bit everywhere. So I'll save myself the embarrassment of any specifics.
Now, is that any different than the music you listen to when you don't train, or is it pretty much all the same?
Well, there's a lot of stuff I listen to when I don't train that's too, like, I love Belle and Sebastian. There's like stuff that it's like, well, I'm not listening to that while I, you know, while I train. So pretty much anything that's upbeat, I can make myself train to. Love ice cream. You know what I've been known to do sometimes is, like, if I really want ice cream and I'm like struggling to make it fit in with what I need to do for meals, sometimes I can justify it by, like, I've been known to actually go to an ice cream place with like my protein shake and get like the fat-free ice cream, because I'm like, it's just like carbs and protein. It's a post-workout thing, right? Or other times I just, you know, have ice cream, just whatever it is, what it is, needs to happen. I get, burgers also. I love burgers. I can live without pizza. Pizza doesn't do much for me. It's because it's bad in Boston. That's the answer. I don't have anything that I like enough that I can just do it all the time.
That's fine.
Early fall's pretty nice, actually. Early fall might be the best. I mean, I feel like in the spring you get a lot of rain. In the winter, I mean, obviously it stinks to be outside in New England. I mean, we've all done it, like stones when it's like 20 degrees outside. I'm over it. in summer, the heat sometimes is just too much. So yeah, well,
Okay.
I guess I'd have to go with the belt.
Yeah.
Unless my tendonitis is acting up, and then I'm gonna say wrist straps.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when it's really bad, I'm like doing assistance work with dumbbells that isn't even heavy, and I've got my straps on. So assuming my tendonitis isn't bad, I'll say my belt.
And do you have favorite clothes you like to train in? Like, do you always train in certain shirts or shorts or pants, or is it?
I'm really a fan of the sleeveless shirts. I usually cut out the sleeves in my shirts. They just annoy me. I'm not really sure, but I have to say I am a little jealous of the folks that live down by Jill Mills in Texas and get to train with her.
Sure.
I think that would be pretty awesome. So yeah, that's gonna be my